Good evening. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Okay, guys, we are finally getting somewhere. Michael Gerard is making it happen. All right, so Bob Bodley is a guy, I think he's kind of affiliated with Dfinity, but I think he's like the founder of Tonic Labs, but very intelligent guy, okay? So this is the type of person that you would want making the case for Lightning over ckBTC because I think he's a pretty pro-Bitcoin guy. All right, and guys, trust me, you want people making the opposing position because you want to understand all the cases against whatever it is and for. It's all a relative comparison at the end of the day. There's a few things really quick before I get into this thread. All right. So this is good. You want to hear the case for Lightning versus ckBTC, but also you want to hear the case for ckBTC versus Lightning. It is all a relative comparison. And the next part I'm going to go over is probably the most important part. I've been over it before, but it is worth repeating because this is one of the worst problems in this space. So many people look at things in a vacuum. I could go look at so many different things about companies I'm invested, or let's just talk about ckBTC. I could probably go and find certain things where I say, you know what, it would be more ideal, in my opinion, if it was like this, but see, that's irrelevant. What's relevant is how it compares to the other comparable solutions. Because looking at anything in a vacuum as it relates to this type stuff is I'm not going to say it's completely worthless, but it's not nearly as valuable as looking at it relative to the other comparable options. All right. So forget about opinions. Let's focus on facts, evidence, data, and understand, guys, bias often gets in the time. It often gets in the way of being objective. And I'm not referring to Bob here. Okay, I'm just referring in general. Bias often gets in the way of being objective. So just beware of people that are just trying to dismiss this as a conversation that's not worth having. Because at the end of the day, the Lightning solution is the solution for scaling Bitcoin right now. Period. End of story. There's no other solution for scaling Bitcoin. I mean, I guess Stacks is working on scaling solutions, but as far as practical applications being used in the real world right now, Lightning is the solution. So there's not 50 solutions out there. We're talking about like a few at best. Okay, and now ckBTC is one of those options. And so this becomes a very, very important conversation. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me who came out. So, this is just a worthless conversation. It wouldn't matter to me at all because you couldn't explain using facts and logic and common sense why it's a worthless conversation. Because if you generally expect Bitcoin to continue to be adopted, and if you generally expect the trend to continue with Bitcoin being adopted as legal tender in more countries, then that means that those countries and all across the world, they're going to have to find solutions for Bitcoin payments in day-to-day life, just going out and making purchases at the store. And if ckBTC is one of the few options in the world that can solve this problem, then this is a very important conversation to be having. Okay, and I don't care if anybody says that it's not. I really don't. And just guys, understand that people may try to dismiss this conversation for other reasons, for their own reasons. Okay, so and I'm not saying that that's what Bob was doing. I'm just saying that if you try to pursue this, you will find people who are just not interested at all in even looking at this. Okay. And if there is a good reason as to why this is not an important conversation to be having, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Okay. Okay. It's the process of elimination, guys. There's just not that many other solutions out there. All right. And keep in mind that Lightning Mainnet, this is per Google. I might be wrong about this, but this is what Google said. Lightning Mainnet launched in 2018. ckBTC launched 45 minutes ago. Okay. We're not even in the first inning. We're still in warm-ups. Okay. So just understand that. All right. It's always important to take a step back and look big picture here. So can anyone explain a reason why Lightning would be preferable to ckBTC for scalable Bitcoin? All right. So the only real reason that he gave was fewer trust assumptions, or let me say this again. The only real criteria that he gave was fewer trust assumptions. It says simpler protocol, true, closer to a true. I mean, this is really the reason that he gives. And he goes on to further elaborate on this down here. And so this gets back into the conversation we were having about 4 or 5 months ago when there was this guy on Twitter that was talking about, oh, you can't call it trustless. And I was like, oh, okay, gotcha. And that's when I went back into the whole, it's all a relative comparison. And okay, so you can't call this trustless. That's perfectly fine. You have to trust the ICP protocol is going to continue to work as is. That being said, how does it compare to Wrap Bitcoin? How does it compare to RIN BTC? How does it compare to those other things? It's a significantly better solution and it can actually scale. And it's significantly more secure than those other options. So that means that regardless of whether you can sit here and say, well, you can't technically call it trustless, that's perfectly fine. It's still significantly better than the other options out there. Too often, guys, people miss the point. Too often, people miss the point. All right, so as I understand, Lightning requires a level of centralization to provide liquidity for scalability. And so that's when he gets into, yeah, to open a channel on Lightning, you need to have multiple participants. And the network incentivizes nodes that are the most connected. So this is definitely a centralizing force. So the more liquidity you provide, the more connected, question mark. I've never done it before, so I don't know exactly. But I think the more, okay, I think that's pretty much it, guys. This is really the first part I want. I've never done it before, but I think the more nodes you connect to the more connected you are. I think the more nodes you connect to, the more connected you are. Essentially, just opening a channel between more nodes. I don't know how much BTC is needed to open a channel. And guys, so listen. Yeah, Bob did a good job of giving a case for Lightning as opposed to ckBTC. But what we really need is we need what's all the selling points? Where are all the areas where ckBTC would be better? And where are the areas where Lightning would be better? And a holistic breakdown of both of these solutions, the strengths, the weaknesses, the scalability, the speed and cost. Okay. I mean, I've looked up some figures as far as for Lightning, and I don't want to say something that's inaccurate, and I haven't had enough time to go through this and do my own personal um, I would say my own personal research that I want to make sure is very thorough because I want to be accurate. But I mean, there's other criteria you got to look at here, okay? And understand that Michael was asking in that context, like, give me the case for Lightning as opposed to ckBTC. And if the only thing, and I'm pretty sure Bob is a pretty pro Bitcoin guy, if the only thing that he really comes up with is trust assumptions, if that's the only thing that he really elaborates on, um, you know, I left this with a very I felt very good about that general answer. If that's the only thing that he came back with, because that's not the only criteria you would look at, guys, and understand that when he's talking about trust assumptions, just understand that the ICP launched 2 years ago and ckBTC was just launched, yesterday. So take all these things into consideration. Do not let people tell you this is not a big deal because it is. I don't give a shit what anybody says. All right. Maybe I'm having a simple Jack moment and I'm missing a very, very, basic point, but I don't think so. Okay. Because at the end of the day, there's just not that many solutions out there. Again, many people will get caught up in little things about ckBTC they don't like, but they're talking about it in a vacuum. It's all a relative comparison. It's all a relative comparison. You just, never, ever, ever, ever forget this. Is trust assumptions the only reason? All right, so what about speed and cost? Potential issues with design and architecture. Can it scale? See, this is really the whole. It's not about what some dude would want to do just because he likes Lightning because of XYZ. It's about a realistic, real world example of utility where a country adopts Bitcoin as legal tender, and if they are doing a thorough breakdown of all the available solutions in the world, what's the criteria they would look at? And they would look at this criteria, assuming this isn't all already figured out. If this isn't already figured out, they would 100% be looking at all of this criteria. You wouldn't just be looking at one specific criteria. All right. And guys, this is a big point too. Network effects over time. Keep in mind, over time, think about how many people are going to be using ICP and all the different apps that are on ICP. assuming ICP and this whole industry continues to move forward. Nothing's ever a sure thing. This is not financial advice, but think about all the different users that will already be on ICP using a wide range of different applications that are going to be on ICP. So you're already going to have a lot of users on there. And there's already a built-in holistic solution on the ICP network. So what I'm getting at is that ICP big picture is going to have probably more network effects than any other network on Earth. And so just by way of their network effects and already having those users and having a built-in solution, it's not going to make sense to go look for a solution outside of that, in my opinion. Remember, there are only two known solutions for this right now, maybe one or two more, but ckBTC does not have to kill Lightning. If it just gets a portion of the market share, it would be huge because we're talking about the global market share. If it just gets a portion of it, that would be huge. Forget about opinions. Focus on facts, evidence, and data, guys. Opinions don't matter. Mine doesn't matter. Nobody's opinion matters. What matters is facts, evidence, and data. Bias often gets in the way of being objective. Keep this in mind when you're hearing people talk about ICP and ckBTC. And in my opinion, guys, they have two of the best. All right. If you want to make a case that they're not the single best and there's something else is better, that's fine. But let's just say two of the best options available for tokenized Bitcoin and tokenized gold. Not only just tokenized gold, but a gold-backed stablecoin. They are probably as well positioned as anyone else to do a gold-backed stablecoin, especially with what we've seen here recently with Origin and Metalore. So people may try to dismiss this conversation, guys. Just keep that in mind, and just keep that in mind. I'm not going to say people may try to dismiss this conversation for reasons that I'm not going to speculate on. All right, but guys, it's all about process of elimination. At the end of the day, something has to solve this problem. Something has to solve this problem. And so knowing what the different options are and understanding the advantages and benefits and drawbacks to each of those options. And right now there's only two or three, so it's not that hard. Again, if there was 50 different solutions, guys, I would not be doing this video. All right. So that's all I have. Michael Gerard, you're the man. Thank you so much. I'm going to continue digging on this, guys, because I want a complete, total breakdown and relative comparison, looking at all the available criteria, assuming that I'm the head of some state, I'm the head of some country, and I'm looking to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. And I want to understand how we're going to scale this for payments, how we're going to make this easy for our citizens. And I'm looking at it like that from that perspective. What's the different criteria I would look at? What's the type of comparison that I would do before ultimately siding with one particular solution more so over another? Okay, guys, that's all I have. Let me know if I got anything wrong in this video. Let me know if there's any corrections. Let me know if you have any more information. That's it. Take care. Not financial advice. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next video.